Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Ultima 6, The False Prophet. In our last episode, the Avatar and his companions had journeyed into the sewers below the town of Britain in search of a thief. More specifically, a member of the Thieves Guild, whose belt we have to somehow steal. In order to join the Thieves Guild to find out more about a mysterious silver tablet. So let's begin our exploration. The first thing you might notice is, if you look at the top of the screen here, where there would normally be the sun and the moons moving their way across the sky, there's a cave now. And that's it. We no longer can see the daylight. We can no longer tell if it's day or nighttime because we are underground. If you also notice, it almost looks like it's nighttime, but we can't really see very far in any direction around us. That's because, likewise, when you're down in the middle of a sewer, there's not a lot of natural light sources to look around at, so let's see if anybody has any torches in the inventory, and we'll see if anybody can light one. And here, looks like YOLO has 10 torches. Unfortunately, he has a crossbow, and that's a two-handed weapon. Let's go ahead and move these torches. We'll see if we can move all of them to Sherry. And yes, they're heavy and they're light enough that she can carry them. Go ahead and use a torch. As you can see, she'll hold it in one hand, keep holding her boomerang in the other hand, and we can go ahead and be on our way. Oh, looks like this door below us is locked. YOLO, you're up. Unfortunately, the key broke. And we're having a bit of a problem here. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the game, the Avatar was given a key to Lord British's castle. Let's see if this key has any effect on this door. Ah, yes, there we go. Alright, with that little diversion out of the way, we're actually on our way now, so let's go explore the Britain sewers. Shamino says he hears something to the north. And there's a ladder leading further downwards. Let's keep exploring a little more before we go deeper into this dungeon. Oh, there's a giant rat there. To arms! And we killed it. Shamino says he hears something in the southeast, and it looks like there's somebody down here. You see a skinny, awkward-looking man wearing boots that come up past his knees. Hey, 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 welcome to the finest sewers in Britannia. You look like you need a nickname, so I'll call you Ducks. Ducks, okay. That's not something I talk about much down here. Let's see who this person is. What's his name? My name's Daros, old duck. He shakes your hand. And what's your job, Daros? Well, Ducky, I keep the sewers running the way they should. When work is slow, sometimes I play a joke or two on my friends to keep things lively. He winks at you. On his friends? Well, are we his friends? Even though we don't know each other that well, I'd like to think of you as my friend already. And what kind of jokes do you play? Oh, you know, Ducks, the usual kinds. He nudges you in the ribs. So he keeps the sewers. Britain is the biggest city in the world, and all those people use a lot of water. All of the runoff drains down here. It's not a bad place to work, really, except for the rats. The rats. They're pretty big, Ducky, but not to worry. They usually won't eat you until after they've killed you first. Of course, if you have a set of panpipes, I hear you can just pipe them away. Panpipes? I don't have a set myself. I usually just run away. It's real good exercise. So he said Britain is the biggest city. Go back up and have a look. I'm sure it's still there. He grins, obviously delighted with his own sense of humor. And he mentioned the runoff of the water. I wouldn't go swimming around here, Ducks. Alright, well, it was interesting meeting you, Daros. See you around, old duck. He gives you a hearty slap on the back as you leave, which almost knocks one of the straps on your pack loose. And a little something here, if you look in your pack, we now have a rubber duck. It's the kind of trick this guy plays on us. He gives us a rubber duck. Anyway, on with our adventure. So we're looking to try to find, as I mentioned, that random thief who seems to live down in the sewers underneath the town of Britain. Let's go ahead and go a little deeper down to the second level here. Let's go exploring here, see if we can find whatever we can find. Apparently there's a giant squid down here in the sewers. Some poisonous ground. Luckily we all have swamp boots. Oh, more giant rats. To arms! That was quick. Oh, there's more of them. Oh, look, and another ladder downwards. Let's continue on our way. Shamanos here says you're something to the southwest. Well, there's a dead end to the southwest. Something's causing the game to run slower. There must be some sort of enemies nearby that the game is actually taking the time to render. Oh, more enemies! The world of this underneath Britain seems to be overpopulated with rodents. I think that's all of them. So there's a little passageway up this way. Oh, looks like a trap. Something just hit us. Thou dost see a trap. Now we know how to deal with this sort of thing. It looks like a poison field. Go ahead and equip our spellbook and cast that spell that we used before to go meet Penumbra. Dispel field. Go ahead and move this trap out of the way and we'll continue on. Looks like there's a house here. And we all got hit by some sort of fire trap. Obviously, the person who lives here does not want visitors, and is not a friendly sort. You see a graceful, silver-haired woman in robes of blue. She eyes you suspiciously. What do you want? Well, what's your name? I am Phoenix. And your job? I used to be captain of the Black Fetchu, but now a member of the Thieves Guild, and I don't care who knows it. Britain is the wealthiest city in the world, and I make a tidy living sneaking up there at night to liberate a few possessions. Of course, I only steal from those who have too much wealth for their own good. Aha, here's the person that, well, we need to deal with. We'll get around to that in a second. Let's ask her about being the captain of that ship. She was the finest ship that ever sailed, but those days are past. The crew scattered to the four corners of the earth, and the Fetchus off amongst the stars. We were at port one day when the anchor chain snapped, and the Thetchu drifted off the edge of the world. I'd join her if I could and sail through space. The world is flat, you know, she eyes you appraisingly. Surely any well-educated person would be aware of that. Alright, so let's ask her if she's a member of the Thieves Guild. It's an honorable profession, with as long a tradition as any other. Let's go ahead and ask her about that belt. You want my belt? I'm sorry, laddie, but I'm not ready to retire just yet. Retire? No way, I'm making too good a living to give it up now. If you want to get my belt, use your wits. Prove you're worthy to replace me. Figure it out yourself. Let's keep talking to her. Let's ask her if she knows anything about the guild. If you want to join the guild, go talk to Budo about it. Of course, we did talk to Budo a little earlier. He lives in Buccaneer's Den. These tunnels can take you there, unless you get lost, or the rats get you. The rumors of pirates there are just idle chatter. She smiles. I haven't been there in a while. It's a lovely little town. Chatter. I don't know about you, but some of us have more important things to do with our time. And what about pirates? Pirates? I'm sure I wouldn't know a thing about them. So we need to figure out how to get her belt. Budo had recommended that we don't resort to violence, and I'll show you why. If you look at her, she's wearing a magic helm, magic armor, but more importantly, she's wielding 2 glass swords. Glass swords are one of the most powerful items in the Ultima games. Incredibly fragile. They'll break after using them only once, but they will kill almost anything with a single hit. I'm not ready to go up in combat against this lady. We have to find some other way to get that belt off of her. Some way to rob her when she's not looking. About time you were on your way. One thing before you go. She draws her dagger. Don't tell anyone where my hideout is. If you do, some night you'll go to sleep and never wake up again. You'll never know when it's coming. She turns and throws the dagger at a little mouse that was sniffing around for food, pinning it to the wall by its tail. Eek! Sherry runs up your leg, and it takes several minutes before you can coax her back down again. Yikes. Alright, we need to give this some thought, and we need to come back a little later. Let's avoid that trap, and let's head back up to the surface. Actually, there's a lot easier way to deal with this. Let's not attack Yolo. Let's use our halberd. And then let's do something a little different here. Let's use the Orb of the Moons and travel to Lord British's castle. Alright. Actually, I have a slightly better idea. Let's go ahead and go up here. So we're to the east of Britain here at the Britain Moon Gate. And let's go ahead and head east back over to the town of Cove. If I remember correctly, there were some very interesting spells that might come in handy being sold by Rudium, the mage who lives there. So let's make our way over there and we'll see what we can find. And since we have a torch burning, we can go ahead and keep walking even though it is technically nighttime. Now since we already freed the shrine, there shouldn't be any gargoyles attacking it at this point. And as you can see, there aren't, so we'll just go ahead and keep moving past it. Our torch just ran out. Let's go ahead and go to sleep for really quickly. Put our party to bed. And we'll rest for just about 5 hours. The avatar will guard. Now, one thing we may want to do is get some food. We're going to go ahead and rest again for another 5. We may want to get some food to allow the party to heal, because everybody got a little hurt by those traps. There we go. Let's go ahead and, everybody should be fully awake now in the town of Cove, and we'll go ahead and go inside here and talk to Rudium, if you remember the mage, who lives here. Kind of try to avoid that little Drake he has living there, who attacked Yolo. Actually, I think that was Leodin. Alright. So we'll talk to Rudium. You see a dark, bearded man dressed in flowing white robes. Greetings, mighty avatar, for what hast thou come to my place? I want to look at your spells. In what circle does Attentive wish to study? Let's look at the first. No help there. He doesn't carry any second circle spells. Mass Awaken won't be of any use to us. Great Heal, no. Ah, the 5th circle has a very useful spell. Pickpocket. That can help us. The avatar is not quite ready to cast that spell. But let's go ahead and buy it now anyway. It costs 100 gold. We're going to go ahead and add that to our spellbook. And as soon as we are able to... That's not good at all. Let's go ahead and get healed up by Lord British here. As soon as we're able to gain a level, the avatar should be ready to go ahead and cast 5th circle spells. If you notice, the avatar right now is currently level 4. Okay, Lord British has healed our party, and we'll continue on our way. We'll ignore him and Finn again. What we need to do is we need to get into some combat. Go ahead and let the avatar win some battles, and go ahead and get his level up. Because at this point, we are unable to cast the spells that we need in order to, well, continue with the game. We now have a spell that will allow us to hopefully get that belt off of Phoenix without having to get into combat. You know, we can kind of fulfill what Buddha wanted us to do. So let's go look for combat. Let's go look for anybody we can fight. We'll get out of the town and we'll see if there's anything we can run into to fight. Oh, something's fighting down here. Wolves. Let's go ahead and have the avatar do all the attacking here. My other party members are a little too good at fighting at this point, and we're trying to focus on getting the avatar to level up. Because he's the one that we need to have cast our spells. Let's keep wandering. We'll head over towards Scarabray in the U area. We're bound to run into some sort of enemies in the forest over there. Actually had a pretty good idea. So we've already been to the town of Moonglow. Let's go ahead and, so we can go ahead and use our Orb of the Moons to travel there. The town of Moonglow is 2 steps down and 2 steps to the north. Sorry, 2 steps to the west and 2 steps to the north, and we need to find enough open space to do that. If you remember, the town of Moonglow had a small dungeon in the crypts there, at the very north end of the island by Zhao's house. Where we found the Rune of Honesty. So if we go ahead and head up to the northern end of the island here. I think that's the Lyceum there, yes. So we're almost to her house. We should be able to find quite a few enemies that we can get into some combats with and get our levels up. And then we can travel right over to that Shrine of Honesty and go ahead and get some intelligence out of it, which will allow us to be even better at spellcasting. Alright, once again we're going to go ahead and use a torch. Sherry will go ahead and do that for us. We'll continue on our way. Let's go exploring. Shamino heard something to the south, and yep, there's an acid slug. We just want to be careful that these things don't get close enough to actually hit our, to hit us with, and dissolve our weapons or armor. As you can see from the various items left in some of these bodies, this is the way we came previously. And there's the way down to the actual crypts. Something's around here because it's once again it's slowing down the game a bit. So some sort of enemy is lurking around that it's using up, you know, memory to render. Acid slugs again. Now we've never been further down in this cavern, so let's continue down and look around. There's a crypt we never looked at. We should probably take a moment and look inside it. Interesting. A stairway leading even further downwards into the depths of the earth. My goodness. YOLO, can you try to open these? We're almost out of lockpicks. Oh, but it is unlocked. My goodness. Gold. An invisibility ring. More bodies, but a fire wand. Yola will go ahead and hold on to that for us for a little bit. Let's check the southernmost chamber. Oh, and the key broke, and that's that for that. Unfortunately, we don't have the lock magic spell. We only have the spell to allow us to unlock magic. If we had the spell to lock magic, we could lock the door and then re-unlock it. I think I mentioned that in a previous episode. Right now, we're kind of stuck. We can't get into the store. But we got a bunch of gold from that previous store, so that's pretty good. Let's keep looking for more enemies to kill, and we'll continue on our way here. We can come back here and look more later. Horseshoes, interesting. Giant bat we've killed. A mug. Remains. Another invisibility ring. Those will come in handy quite a bit later in the game, but I'll show you why once we get there. That's going to be a little bit later in the game. Let's go ahead and have Sherry light another torch. Oh, slime. Well, normally I wouldn't want to hog all the experience for just one character. It's kind of counterintuitive to being able... You want to have a well-rounded party to really be able to get far in the game. At this point, we really need the avatar to be able to be as strong as possible. We need the avatar to level up, as I mentioned, so we can cast better spells. Oops. We're going to continue looking around here. Give me just a moment here while I check our map. Continue looking around here. Hopefully we can get in combat with some actual stronger enemies that are going to be a little bit more of a challenge to us. Well, there's something to the southeast. Ah, here goes. Here's a real battle. The guard is heavily wounded. Finally, the guard is critical. And he's fleeing. And there's plate mail for the taking. Let's go ahead and look at our characters. Attentive only has chainmail, which is not quite as good as plate. Unfortunately, he's holding too much stuff to be able to grab the plate, so let's go ahead and move this to Dupre. And even this is too heavy. some of these extra things that he really doesn't need to be carrying. These items are useful, but the avatar does not need to be carrying them right now. The quest items he'll go ahead and keep carrying, the keys as well, and the reagents that he needs. Alright. Unfortunately, that was almost a waste of time because the plate mail is too heavy for the avatar to wear. So let's go ahead and move this back to the avatar. Dupre is already wearing plate mail. Shamino is also wearing chainmail, so he can put that on. Yola's wearing a chain. Sherry doesn't have any armor, but I don't think she'll be able to. Chainmail weighs 6 stones, and that's far more than Sherry can carry at her current strength. Leona has chainmail, but if you remember, Leodon has no armor. So we'll go ahead and move this to Leodon. Oops, sorry, wrong person. There we go. Meanwhile, Attentive, the avatar, has 907 experience points. Let's go ahead and we'll check to see if that's enough. The way we can do that is, we've already been to the Shrine of Honesty, so let's go ahead and use the Orb of the Moons. 2 steps up and 1 step over. We'll go ahead and speak to the Shrine of Honesty. We'll meditate with Avatar will meditate with the mantra Om. Attentive has gained a level and intelligence. There is naught else for you to learn here and now. Return when thy journey has progressed further. Now we should be able to cast that spell that we wanted to cast. So let's go ahead, head back to Britain, and back into those sewers. Unfortunately, Lord British isn't here right now. I was going to go ahead and try to get a free healing out of it, but that's fine. We'll come back to him a little bit later. This should just be a very quick trek back to the sewers, back to Phoenix, and hopefully back victoriously with a belt in our possession. Go ahead and follow the same path we took last time to make our way back to... Oh, looks like the avatar has been poisoned by that rat. That will happen from time to time. Go ahead and re-equip. And for this part of the game, we will go ahead and actually have our companions help with the battles. Because these rats can be nasty. They can poison you, as you just saw. All right, let's quickly get down this ladder. Oh, rat's chasing us. 2 arms! You dare to dog our steps? Don't you know that the Avatar is on official royal business? Oh, there's more of them. And Dupre's been poisoned. Let's make sure nobody else has been poisoned here on the team. Alright, we'll very quickly cast that again. It's unfortunate waste of reagents. And another rat attacking us. And now the avatar has been poisoned. Oops, unfortunately the avatar does not have his halberd equipped. In days to come, they will tell mighty tales of the Avatar's furious struggle against hopeless odds of lots and lots of rats. In later parts of the game, when you go to harder dungeons, you know, the traditional 8 dungeons that of anti-virtue that oppose the 8 shrines of virtue, there are far more formidable enemies to face. But at this part of the game, when you're in Britain sewers, yeah, the main enemy you fight is rats, rats, more rats, tons of rats. Alright, looks like Phoenix is asleep. This looks like a perfect time to try to do that pickpocketing, if it'll allow us to. Which object? We can pick whatever we want. Well, let's go ahead and take this belt. Success! Now, if we wanted to, we could cast that spell again, and we could go ahead and grab her glass swords, that armor. But stealing is already unvirtuous as it is to an extent. We had to do this. It's probably the best choice, because we want to avoid violence. Better to steal than to kill, but as it is, we've still, in a way, violated the virtues, and I think we're going to go ahead and let well enough alone from here on out. So in order to, you know, not have, you know, try to seek out more trouble than we need, let's use this thing and get back to Lord British. Once again, he's not in his throne room, so we'll just continue on our way. That's probably because it's only just morning. The sun's just starting to come up. Let's quickly make our way back to Buccaneer's Den and show off this belt to everybody to Budo, who wanted to see that before he would induct us into the Thieves Guild. We'll quickly sneak out of the town before anybody's awake. Before we have to explain our less than legal activities, although I'm not sure if it's really illegal to be stealing from a member of the Thieves Guild who's living in a hole deep underground, really out of anybody's jurisdiction, but either way, we're on our way. Let's quickly use our sextant. Remember, we have to go to 30 east and 30 south to get to Buccaneer's Den. Torch burned out, but it's daytime, so it doesn't matter anymore. Right. We're making progress. Alright, we're almost as far enough east. We just need to start heading south a bit. Remember that 3030 runs through the middle of the island, so actually we want to be a bit further east than we are now, because we want to come in on the east side of the island. Oh, perfect, we're at 30 now. We're going to be coming around the east side of the island where the docks are. There we go, there's the island itself. We'll continue around here looking for the docks. And there it is again. Let's go find Budo, who hopefully will be awake at this point. It should be late enough in the day. If you remember, he lived in a secret entrance. Oh, it's already open for us. That's good. Go ahead and move some of these folks out of the way here. move Budo into his house so we can actually talk to him here. Okay. Good morning. Do you need to buy some supplies? Actually, while we're here, yes we do. This guy's the only one in the game that I found so far who will sell us lockpicks. It'll cost you 7 for each lockpick. Let's go ahead and buy 5 for now. And we'll go ahead and move those over to YOLO. It's always good to have a couple of these handy. Alright, now let's get on with the actual quest. Alright, we want to join the guild. He glances about quickly to make sure nobody else is listening. In a low voice he says, "Congratulations, and welcome to the guild. I can offer you the standard members discount on all supplies now." Oh, we shouldn't have bought those lockpicks yet. We should have held off on that. Just remember, whatever you do, don't tell anyone about our guild. The first rule of guild is nobody talks about guild. The second rule of the guild is nobody talks about the guild. To keep the guild safe, each member only knows the names of 2 others. You're safer not knowing more about the guild than you have to. Believe me. Alright. So now that we're a member of the guild, let's go ahead and get out of here. Does he know anything about the tablet? No. He wouldn't see you. The guild is behind you, as long as you keep our secret. Okay, getting out of here is going to be hard because of these guys in the way here. I'm going to try to move this guy to the north. There we go. Now we can get in here and move around him. So, we're going to talk to Homer again. You see a shifty-eyed character. He carries a cane and walks with a slight limp. He takes your measure, looking you over from head to toe. What do you want? Well, let's talk about the tablet now. You're looking for the silver tablet? It's part of Captain Hawkins' buried treasure. It was buried in a small cave. After Captain Hawkins passed away, we tore his treasure map into 9 pieces. Ah, if you remember earlier in the game, we actually talked to somebody about a treasure map. She had a treasure map that was in a locket given to her by her husband who passed away. That locket, if I remember correctly, she said was stolen by gypsies. I wonder if that piece of the map is one of the 9 pieces we're looking for here. We're talking about here. The plan was, when nobody was looking for us anymore, we'd get together and go dig it up. Splitting up the map was my idea. That way, nobody could double-cross the others. I figure after all these years, the others must have given up, so it's alright for me to search for the treasure by myself. Trouble is, I've got a bit of the gout in one leg, and I can't travel much anymore. Maybe we can help each other out. I know where my piece of the map is hidden, and if you bring me the other 8 pieces, perhaps we could make a deal. I'll tell you all I know about where the pieces might be. Old Hawknose set out for the dry land to kill the daemon that is said to live there. Sandy, the ship's cook, went to Trinsic with the first mate. Old Ibarra said he was headed for the dungeon Shame, looking for more treasure. I think one of the men died in a shipwreck. Then there was one more, can't remember his name, but I've heard tell he settled in Gelam. He'll be easy to recognize. He has a hook in place of one of his hands. I remember running into a beggar who had a hook in place of one of his hands in Gelam. I wonder if he's the guy we're looking for. That's all I know. Perhaps in your travels you can find out where the others have gone. When you find the pieces, you can lay them out on the ground to see how they fit together. But remember, only I know where the 9th piece is, so come back here when you've got the other 8. Well, that's a place to start, isn't it? So if we can get the 8 pieces of the treasure map from the former members of Hawkins' crew, wherever they may be scattered around Britannia, bring them back to Homer here, he will show us where the 9th piece is, we can put them together, find out where Hawkins' treasure is, and finally find this darn silver tablet. Looks like we've got a bit of a quest ahead of ourselves. But we do have some place to start. We've got some names and some locations. And that's what we're going to pick up next time. In our next episode, we're treasure hunting. See you then.